It's been a long time since we were in Shanghai, China, but now we return to the United States of America. Welcome to Portland, Oregon for rounds 13 and 14 of the championship, the Portland E-Prix. Welcome to everyone watching on JB Motorsports and Grid Network, and welcome to all of the fun. Hello everybody, welcome to qualifying for round 13 of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. Long time since China, but not much has changed in the championship standings as well. This is going to be a very interesting weekend and a very interesting penultimate round of the championship. It could be decided right here this weekend. We're all keeping our fingers crossed, however, that this championship will go down to the finale. But let's go over and we get ready to all the action. Starting off though, Radzy's got an interview down at Nissan. Let's go over now.
Standings, had the Formula E season of his career, but he's not here this weekend. First of all, how is he?
He's recovering. It's nothing serious, but let's say bad enough to prevent him to fly to come here. So, but he will be in London.
Well, that's excellent news, by the way. I mean, he's huge for the entire championship, obviously huge for Nissan. What does this do to the team?
Well, he's presenting us additional challenges. We were already very close to DS and Andretti, and we came here with the objective to defend our third position in the championship. Of course, not having Oli is very challenging, but we hope that with Caio and Sasha, we will be able to limit damages and still defending our position.
With him being 1 point away from Mitch Evans, oh my goodness, absolutely gutting to hear. But in terms of Sasha Fenestraz, all eyes are on now him. In that free practice session 2, things didn't go ideal. Will his car make quali?
Yeah, he will make quali, as if we needed also this additional problem. So no, he will make quali. He knows the track, and he did super well last year in quali. So, of course, it's not ideal not having tried the car this morning, but we don't lose hope, and maybe he can qualify well as well.
Just on an emotional level, obviously you're a professional, obviously you're thinking about the bigger picture, but is there a sense of just being absolutely devastated with this?
Yeah, I would say that probably the psychological impact might be more important than the actual impact. But again, we are all professionals here, and drivers are very professional, and they always need to focus to the next step, ignoring what happened before, focus on the next step, and try to make the most of any situation.
Tommaso, thank you very much for your time. All the very best of luck this weekend. All eyes, and obviously all of our thoughts go out to Ollie Rowland. Please get well soon if you are watching this one, Ollie. But in terms of Kyle Collette, wow, what a baptism of fire. He's going to be kicking off with the best quali format in all of motorsport, in my personal opinion. The way it works, if you are new to it, the 22 drivers get split right down the middle. We have Group A and we have Group B, and they're split in terms of their order in the championship standings. Odds on the left, evens on the right. And look at that Group A, by the way. Mitch Evans, the championship, or rather Mitch Evans and Nick Cassidy, Team Jaguar, they're going to take some beating. Max Günther, I mean, my goodness. And in fact, Group B, Pascal Wehrlein, he's going to be fighting Jake Dennis. This is really a case of pick 'em. The top 4 from each group will go through to the one-on-one, head-to-head knockout format. We have the quarterfinals, then we have the semi-finals, then we have the final. The winner will not only be the pole sitter, but they'll get 3 points as well. There is so much on the line, and I tell you what, this weekend could go some way in determining who's crowned the Formula E World Championship at the end of this season.
Thank you very much, Radzy, as well. So if you're just joining us on the Grid Network as well, we have 2 people on site who you'll be hearing from in our race build-up as well. Joe Samaniego and Nicole Fry are over there in Portland as well. And what a beautiful city Portland is as well. Oregon in the old town is absolutely fantastic. And we come here for the penultimate of the last time. Tomorrow will be the last time we're in Portland for a while as well, which is disappointing to me. But it's the way the world works half the time, sadly, as well, as we get ready for the session to start. And we'll load up everything on blog-wise as well to keep up to date with all the information. Group A coming up there now. That's Nick Cassidy, Mitch Evans, Jean-Eric Verne, Maximilian Günther, Jake Hughes, Sam Bird, Sebastian Buemi, Nico Muller, Sergio Santacamara, Eduardo Mortar and Lucas de Grassi. They are all going to be venturing out onto the circuit. So those of you watching on JB Motorsports, you know how this all works. Those of you watching for the first time though on Grid Network, this is how it all plays out. We have Group A and Group B as well, 12 minutes each with 11 cars. They're limited at 300 kilowatts per hour. The top 4 from each progress to the quarterfinals, where we turn up the power to 350 kilowatts per hour. Then we have a semi-final and a final to decide the running order as well. Green light is on and we're underway out here on the circuit. A few drivers already making their way down pit lane, including Sebastian Buemi, who ventures out onto the track. He's also followed by Nick Cassidy as well. The virtual race engineer is saying the ideal qualifying strategy is an out lap, a prep lap, a push lap, and then another push lap as well. So double push here at Portland. The track improvement comes so thick and fast as well, so they need to have that option to keep on going. This morning, it was Antonio Felix da Costa who was fastest, a 108.787 on a full power lap time. Norman Nato put it in second place as well for the Andretti team. Cassidy went in third, followed then as well by Dennis. Kyle Collette was in fifth, despite Nissan putting it in the wall themselves as well. Let's hear a radio quickly from Cassidy.
The plan is out, build, push, out, build, push. And just one.
So out, build, push as well. In between the sessions, we'll be hearing from the world feed as well of Tom Brooks. Alongside him is also going to be, I believe, it is Billy Monger, and I know it's Alan McNish, because we just heard him as well. So yeah, welcome to everyone listening in on the Grid Network as well. We're not live on the Grid Network, live on JBMotorsports, and then premiering on Grid, because Grid are obviously trackside, you can't have live footage on there at the same time. Maybe we'll see what we can do in the future about that, but right now, playing it safe for the coverage as well. But in our build-up show, Joe Samaniego has done a pit lane walk, so we'll be having that in our race build-up, an extended race build-up. We'll be hearing a lot from Joe and Nicole, who are on site at Portland as well. We'll have interviews with the drivers as well from Friday, just before the race started, and their pre-show analysis of practice, and then some pit walks from Joe as well. And hopefully, I think either today or tomorrow, he gets to do a grid walk, which we'll have as well slotted into the Grid Network build-up. So it's all going to be a lot of fun. Meantime, though, in Group A, Sebastian Buemi is on the lap time, and his first sector is a 27.431. Sector 2 is a 17.531 as well. Then we get Nico Muller, who has just taken the fastest first sector on a 27.225 as well. That's down in the Apt Cupra. Joining me in the commentary box later on will be Jack Giamana from Formula E Zone as well. He'll be joining me along, in fact, I'll be surrounded by Jacks, because Jack will also be in from the JBMotorsports team as well, up in the commentary box. Ed Hunter will be joining me in the box tomorrow for the commentary as well. So it's how it all works out, really. We're just going to swing through and hook it through. It's like a hooker duck today, just going around going like that with all the Formula E commentators trying to come through. Keep it up to date then. It was asked, we've put it on, the numbers on the driver tracker as well. Let's hear from Cassidy again on the radio.
Push next lap, and then keep pushing after that.
So this is a build-up lap for Cassidy, but then he's told to push again. So it's push. Muller and Degrassi 1-2 in the apt cars. 1:10.079. Degrassi's 2/10 down. But when we third, Cassidy in fourth place. Jean-Eric Verne fifth at the moment from Mortara in sixth. Gunther seventh. Santa Camara eighth. Bird is ninth. Hughes is in 10th position as well. So everyone just being careful, not needing to jump the gun and have a worried, excited look upon their faces. They're all just keeping it calm, which is also, I suppose, the best thing to do, really. The last thing you want is everything going wrong, and we're seeing what happened this morning as well with Sasha Fenestraz, where right here, coming into the penultimate corner, just getting on the grass, skating straight across and into the tyre barrier as well, where the drag strip was. The start-finish line here, of course, on the drag strip. Across the line comes Cassidy, fourth at the moment. Only goes third. 75 thousandths of a second separating the top three at the moment. Buemi on a 1:10.017 with Muller second. Cassidy third. Degrassi in fourth. Gunther fifth. And then it's Verne. No, now it's Mortar. No, now it's Bird up to fourth. Time's changing as quick as you can come through. And now Degrassi jumps back ahead of Bird. So again, they switch over at the last second. Evans is P11. Once again, going to be having a little light on. The throttle goes both ways, so he's lifting and coasting, then sliding the rear of the car out as well. Afternoon, Adam, who says in the chat, top 4 who I think advances in this session: Cassidy, Bird, Evans, and Sete Kamara. Very strong list as well. Don't rule out Jean-Eric Verne there as well, though, in that DS Penske. Definitely has a bigger run at the moment. Evans 2/10 down at the moment. He's backed out as Cassidy. His teammate goes round the outside. No, I'm wrong. Cassidy's backed out. It's Evans who's come through. The timing tower's flipped on us there. Up in the box. Now they've taken Cassidy's time away. They've kept Evans' on, but in the wrong order. Across the line then comes Evans as the camera goes ultraviolet. Cross the line for Evans, 11th, and moves up into 5th position. He's not even inside the top 4 for the Jules. He is just on the cusp of being knocked out. Sete Kamara goes into 5th position as well. So here on Grid Network as well, where we're also broadcasting, if you follow IndyCar and their qualifying, it's very similar to that. The Group A and Group B stages. As off the track goes Mitch Evans. He's in the grass as well, coming out of turn 3, and he's gone mowing. What on earth is going on with that Jaguar? Just got the car a little bit slidey. We saw it was twitching in the previous lap coming through turn 7. But coming out then of 5 and 6, the car just going straight on. Missed part of the track completely. Let's take a look at it once more. So it's down towards turn number... it's out of 1, so it's out of the chicane. It's down through turn 4. The car drifts off the track wide. And he just goes skating across, looking not to hit the tyre barrier actually as well. It's damp grass. We had a lot of overnight rain the last couple of days as well, so it's just damp. As soon as you get on it, you skate across. You can see the water coming onto the tyre actually as well, so he would have lost tyre temperature. Wet, muddy grass. Hasn't stuck to the wheels, thankfully, but Mitch Evans goes mowing here in Portland. Maybe he can do Joe Samiego's grass while he's at it. Don't know if Joe actually has any grass or not. Again, we'll be hearing from Joe and Nicole in the race build-up and throughout the weekend. Also, if you're watching on the Grid Network, we've got a playlist with all the action, so go and take a look at it. The link is below us in our Grid Network video here on JB Motorsports. The link to Grid Network is also down below. Evans on another push lap, so he's decided to stay out on the circuit. Hughes top 109.887. Buemi, Muller, Cassidy actually top 4. Bird dropped to 8th place at the moment. Evans 6th. Sete Kamara has got into 5th place, but most of them are in the pit lane now. You can see on your driver tracker the cars out right now. Buemi, Cassidy, Evans, and Verne, who's down in 11th position. Verne's time this morning was only 21st overall, so 21st fastest. It was a 109.904. Fenestras didn't even do a full power lap at 350 kilometers per hour because he crashed. So really, Verne's time was the dead last time. And again, that DS Penske looks like it's having problems. DS Penske has been fined €5,000 as well for having a bronze pass member of a guest of the team in a technical area, writing down information on rivals' tyres. Yeah, that was... Do you remember last year when they were fined for having a laser camera that could scan the tyre barcodes at this track? They're up to it again, it seems. Don't forget, this is where we saw all the drama back last year with Peloton-style racing. It began here in Portland. And some little grass on the diffuser, then the floor of Mitch Evans underneath his Jaguar. As soon as, if he does box, that is, he'll keep it through. But it looks like he's just going to stay out there on the track throughout this entire session. He's done most laps of anybody so far. Evans is the only one not to have pitted on that board, which I find very, very, very bizarre. Let's take a quick look at how the sector times are and the gaps between everybody. So we'll return that shortly, but with 3 minutes to go, we kind of know what they need to know, what the gaps are, as well as the numbers. So we'll keep turning that graphic on and off for the teams and numbers as we roll on. Hopefully next year they have a bit of a better idea and put the teams and numbers alongside the one number and then the driver's name. But we'll adjust that as we go, I suppose. It's always worth it, adjusting the graphics. I think Formula E, actually, as well as Formula 1, some of our best graphics, because it's always quite nice to work with. Next year, however, I think we are changing the driver tracker to the Al Kamel system, so it shows where the yellow lights are. So next year, we'll have a slight upgrade on the timing on the driver tracker side, so it won't be just that solid blue colour, but the timing tower and the above will all stay the same unless they change graphics again. But I like how you see it as well. I hope that you at home are following it easily. Hughes fastest then, 109.887. Boemi second, Muller third, Cassidy's fourth. That's your drop zone with 2 minutes to go in Group A. Remember, they're only at 300 kilowatts per hour. So that's why you aren't seeing the 108.787 that you saw this morning in practice. Those of you on Grid Network and actually on JB Motorsports, if you didn't watch the opening sessions, you can catch up on Joe and Nicole's reports from the sessions of the Grid Network channel as well. I know I keep plugging it, but it's a great channel. They've just got over 1,000. They're actually now at 1.2 thousand subs, which is amazing. So get them to 2,000 as well. And part of the network here as well. We've got across it, we've got JB Motorsports, Grid Network, USON, Formula E Zone as well, all coming under as well, all helping each other out. It's fantastic, love it. Evans, no worry there. Big yes from the team as well down there in the pit lane. He goes fastest to 109.777 across the board as well. Hughes now a 10th back overall, so they are still finding the good times. Vern in 11th is also on a good time. He's green in the two sectors, which means he's fastest so far on a personal best. Cassidy begins a lap time with 55 seconds to go as well. Hello Lou, who says Evans on top for now, but this lap is not fast enough. Also Cassidy final lap. And he's on it now. Oh, and that's Vern. He's off at the last corner. Jean-Luc Vern is off at turn 12. He gets back on the circuit, but he's done exactly what we've seen so many other drivers do, is go straight on over the rumble strip and into the fencing area as well. Oh, he got caught behind one of the App Coopers. And he's gone onto the drag strip as well. The alternative layout, braking zone. That's how the cars get to the drag strip as well. 16 seconds to go. Less than that now. Checker flag is being prepared. Cassidy, 6th at the moment. Still holding it 2. So who's going to take the first check and take the checkered flag? It's going to be Cassidy. So Cassidy, then it will be Sete Kamara. That's who's going to take the flag, then Boemi. So watch with us. Group 1 has ended. Let's take a look. Cassidy, he's 6th fastest. Does he do enough to get through into the duels, or does the championship leader really suffer here? He suffers. He's 6th fastest. Sete Kamara is directly behind him in 7th in the ERT. And does he get through? Yes, he does. Muller in the drop zone. Kamara goes through. Brilliant for Sete Kamara. Here comes Sebastian Boemi next across the line. He's 6th fastest at the moment. Boemi stays 6th. Eduardo Mortara, 10th across the line. Mortara goes 5th. He doesn't make it. He's out 2. Bird goes 9th. Here comes Jean-Eric Verne in a moment. He goes 9th. Bird down to 10th. Hughes goes top overall as well. Next across the line, Gunther goes in 11th position. Lucas de Grassi, he stays 4th, and Evans stays 2nd, because it all doesn't matter. 2,000ths of a second between Hughes and Evans. Can Evans take the session by any much closer than that? Can he take it to a matching time? No. But it's Hughes on a 109.775 to Evans on a 107.777. Hughes was 2,000ths of a second faster on that lap time. Fantastic. Mortara, Muller, Boemi, Cassidy, Verne, Bird and Gunther, they go no further in this session. Phil Ingram, Cassidy's race engineer, watches on, and this is a big run for the championship leader.
Yes, then, at the end of the session, he's had a qualifying Group B to come in a few moments' time as well.
To be honest, I think that's been our performance level. Just didn't believe me.
So that was Cassidy saying that was our performance level, but you lot just didn't believe me. And that is heartbreaking to see, as well as we refresh the battle screen. And we'll get that up in a second, actually, because we need to go through the finishing order from that session. It's Jake Hughes, fastest on a 109.775. Evans, second, 109.777. As I said, just 2,000s between them, which is fantastic. Then we get Sete Kamara, third, de Grassi, 4th, Mortara, 5th, Muller, 6th, Boemi, 7th, Cassidy, 8th, Verne, 9th, Bird, 10th, and Gunther in 11th. Reminder, the top 4 progress to the next stage of qualifying, as well as the green light we'll be getting ready for that shortly. Well, I didn't expect that. I did not see that coming either on that run. Definitely a surprise as we get ready for Group B, and we'll be hearing the latest from the drivers actually shortly as well in between Group A and Group B. Reminder that there will be gaps between the group stages, the quarterfinals and the semi-finals as well, and the final, so around about 10 minutes starts as well. It's going to be quite an interesting challenge, to say the least, out of this order. So top 4 go through. We'll lose the rest, and in a second we'll hear the latest as well. We'll cross over to friend of the channel, Tom Brooks, alongside Billy Monger and Alan McNish, and we'll hear the latest from what the drivers had to say out there after what was, I think, a very confusing session as well, because it hasn't told us anything we don't already know about the fact that Cassidy has no pace and Evans does have it all at the moment. And Evans as well, really good. Actually, this benefits Roland, who isn't here. Roland, who isn't here, who is going to lose out so much time and points. Anything that can happen, I'm sure, wherever he is, not feeling 110%, he is punching the air right now, going, yes, yes, that's it, I'm better. And he'll be feeling a lot better as well. So let's head back over to the world feed and get the latest before the start of the next qualifying session.
The fans loving it here in Portland then, ahead of Group B qualifying, which is on the way in a few moments' time. This man here, Nick Cassidy, will not be a part of it after missing out on a spot in the duels, crucially denying him an opportunity to get another 3 points in the driver's title race as well. His nearest championship rival, Pascal Wehrlein, 25 points is the deficit he has. He's got an opportunity to get another 3 here if he gets through into the duels and subsequently into the finals as well. He'll be joined in Group B by Jake Dennis, Antonio Felix da Costa, quickest man this morning, as well as Stoffel van Dorn, Norman Nato, Sasha Fenestraz, who was ending up in the wall in free practice as well. Freitz, Ticktum, Deruvala, Nick de Vries, and also Caio Collet replacing the ill Oliver Rowland here this weekend. Collet really fast in free practice too as well. 5th quickest for him, and his first time here in Portland in a Formula E car. It's been
Thank you, Tom. Group B is go. Away they come then, out onto the circuit. And this is really going to be the interesting challenge as well. In this session, as you can see on your screens, back at home, wherever you're watching from, this is our running order. We have Wehrlein, Dennis, da Costa, Van Dorn, Nato, Fenestraz, Freins, Ticktum, Deruvala, de Vries and Collet. That's your battle order to go forward in this session. And fingers crossed it's going to be a nice one as well going into it. So another order has to be maintained. Mitch Evans watching on. He'll be heading out there in the quarter-finals. I don't know which duel he'll be in yet, of course. We'll keep an eye on it and tell you as we progress. There's Pascal Wehrlein in the Tag Heuer Porsche. Now, 3 Porsche 99X electric cars, 4 actually in the session. Wehrlein, Dennis, da Costa and Nato getting sent in. They use the same powertrain, so the same battery and chain electric energy. If any of you have electric scooters at home and you know that you have to have a chain to run off the battery to run the motors, exactly the same here. That's why we call them a power train. The gears are basically a 1, a 2, a neutral and a reverse. So only really 4 gears in a Formula E car. Maybe even just 1. It doesn't really need to be that much. We used to have 3 gears, as Jeff Dodds, CEO of Formula E, watches on. Formula E Zone have interviewed him. Of course, you can watch that on their channel. And Jack Giamano will be joining me in the commentary box later on. We've already had Jack Pickering and Ed Hunter, so now it's Jack Giamano's turn to join the Formula E commentary box in 2024. Next year, of course, we're going to try and group the commentators to their own series a little bit more. Can't wait to hear what Joe and Nicole are making of this session as well. Nicole's also working with her own media company this weekend. And we'll get all the information for that ahead of you in the race and links to all of their socials so you can go and watch along in the E-Prix later on today. So, Da Costa was setting purple sector times. Verline's now taken sector 2, whilst Friends has taken sector 1. Up to the line, though, for Pascal. On the line first is Friends, and it's a 1:10.348. Nowhere near the times we were seeing in the previous session, so the track's going to get faster and faster. Here goes Antonio Felix Da Costa. He goes fastest now as well, a 56 thousandths, 1:10.292. Verline goes third, 2.5 tenths of a second down. Dennis fourth. No, now Felistra's fourth, half a second down. Michael Andretti watching on, the chairman and CEO. Love to hear what he thinks of Formula One at the moment. I'd love to see if I'm going to message Joe to say, if you get Michael Andretti, just tell me what about Formula One so that we can use it in our build-up shows. Lap times 4 to 9 deleted for car 3 of Sete Camara due to overpower in release. So lap times already being deleted. That is never, ever, ever a good sign that we have that this early in a session. Usually they at least wait a little bit, but not at the moment it seems, as we get our track information data on the screen. So you can see track temperatures at 27 degrees, air temperature at 20 degrees. So it's nice with a breeze actually as well. 59% humidity, 2 km/h breeze, sweeping in. Fairstrad's jumped up to 4th. Dennis on a much better lap time now. Costa goes top. Nato looking good. Dennis goes second. Verline goes third. Nato goes third. Dan Tinctum as well. Coming across the line. Van Dorn 6th. Druvela 7th. Tinctum, Calet goes 7th. Tinctum to the top. 11th to 1st. 109.766. That's a remarkably good time from Dan Tinctum in the other ERT. We already had Sergio Sete Camara going through. So that's an interesting fact. It's just a race that the ERTs are dreadful at the moment as well. They haven't got proper race pace. Friends fighting it through. I don't know why we're leaving Portland. It's such a great circuit for Formula E. And we're going to Homestead, Miami next year. Don't get it. Portland's the best place to host a Formula E race. It is weird, though, that Joe Sambiego gets a Formula E race right on his doorstep. That's equivalent to me having a race at Cadwell Park. It's odd. But we're not at Cadwell as much as we should be for major events covering it. Maybe we should be a bit more. It's only our local circuit. Like, they've got British Superbikes there on a free weekend for us, I think. So we should go down and take a look. Where's your car, dude? Is Pascal Verline's quote on his Halo this weekend. The Porsche Halos have been one of the hilarity factors over this season's coverage. Tinctum 109.766. Da Costa coming in as well, so everyone does back in. Here is Dennis's radio.
Copy box, good improvement, sector 1. Currently P3.
So we've got 18 out there. That's Johan Deruvela. He's gone for another lap time. Everybody else is coming to the pit lane as well. So the only car out there is one of Johan Deruvela. Now Sasha Felistrad is coming out to the track as well with 6 minutes to go in the session. So we'll have a bit more. I always enjoy the breaks because we get to hear from the drivers and everything, and it's all excellent stuff to come through as well. Just a few changes. New tyres going on for Pascal Verline. This early in a qualifying as well. You don't get that many tyres. You get 2 sets of tyres across an entire race weekend. Because it's a double header, they've increased that to 3 sets of tyres across the 2 days here of the Hankook tyres. So it's 3 sets each because of all-weather tyres. I don't think they're looking to bring slicks in. They like this. I think Goodyear have got the deal next after Hankook. Or is it Bridgestone? I think it's Bridgestone who have got it next. Yes, it is Bridgestone, yeah. They've got the tyres next in Formula E after Hankook in Gen 4, which is coming in around about 2028, I believe. Maybe 2030, I think. Somewhere in that gap liaison. I don't like to have too late of a direction. I can hear the direction in my ear as well from the world feed. So Tinctum's still on top. As the rest of the field now chilling out in the pit lane before heading back out. 4:40 to go. Hello to Pally Love, who says, I'm here at Portland, live at this track. If you see Joe Samaniego and Nicole Fry, give them a wave and say hello. How's the atmosphere out there, Paddy? How is it? I'd love to know. It looks beautiful out there. Sunshine as well. You've got 27-degree track temperature. You've got 20-degree air temperature. Be warned, there's a 60% humidity. So there's a slight chance of rain. So a nice high humidity. I hope it's nice for you out there. Here's the virtual race engineer then. Expected lap needed to reach the Jules is a 109.9. So that's Tictum and DaCosta safe. They've both done 107s, so 109.7s. But 109.8 for DaCosta, they're just about okay. So Dennis below need to do more lap times. And Dennis is yet to go out to the circuit. So they're going to be watched like a hawk right now. Out of the last corner. This comes now for Dan Tictum down towards turn number 1 in the 33 ERT. Let's open up the driver numbers so that you know who we're on about out here. There you go. It's always a requested feature as well. So Dan Tictum's in the 33. He drives for ERT. DaCosta drives for Porsche. Then it's Dennis and Nato, the two Andrettis. Porsche again for Verline. Envision for Robin Freins. DS Penske for Van Dorn. Nato drives for Nissan. Druvela drives for Maserati. Nick De Vries for Mahindra. And Sasha Fenestraz for Nissan again. That's on your radars alongside us here. I know people have requested that feature for many a month. And I'm happy to oblige. I said I would, and I've done it. So I hope we get comments that we've put that on. And that'll be on in the race as well. Flicking between that and the intervals timing monitor as well throughout the session. Need to get like on a 30-second need to get like a minute timer, so every minute it swaps backwards and forwards. There's the Group A results just below me as well from the blog. That's finally updating itself after 10 minutes as well to see the runners of Group A. Taking a bit longer than I thought, actually. Dan Tictum's fastest at the moment, though, as he comes across the line. Does he improve? No, he's 2 tenths down on his overall best lap time. It was not good either. We're not getting best lap time deltas. In fact, we're getting a very basic timing screen up here in the commentary box as well. Not really getting the graphic amounts of information we need. Here's Dennis's radio.
Yeah, copy that. I will want this out lap relatively quick. So yeah, wherever you send me out is the lowest I'll drop. I won't be going backwards in that train.
Yeah, copy.
So just here and there from Jake Dennis.
Interesting. So they're not going to drop it completely over the trains. It seems like it's just going to be toing and throwing constantly, this one. It's a difficult championship. That's what it is. Verline looking strong. Tictum on a 109.766. Need to cool a drink. Any more for iced tea? Again, they're just pushing it forward. Oh, a little bit wide there. Frein still P7. Verline is 6th. Got picture-in-picture with Florian Modlinger, the director of the Factory Motorsports as well, for Tag Heuer Porsche. And everyone now looking at Verline, who close as well in the championship fight. Will bring... Oh, and... so yeah, there we see about Seti Kamar's times being deleted. They're finally getting caught up on that blog. Where's it been? It's been ages since that's been there, so it's like it's all gone crazy. So, Nato looking strong. He's up towards the line. Jumps up into 3rd position with a 109... I don't know, what time has he done? 109.951. Here comes Van Dorn. Is he going to improve along the line? No, I think he hasn't. He stayed down the order. Here comes Jake Dennis now. 4th for Dennis. No, stays goes. Dennis actually does not improve at all, and Verline goes 3rd. So the graphics there were completely useless. So that was handy. But it's Tictum, DaCosta, Verline, Nato. That's your top 4. Dennis, Freins, Colette, Van Dorn, Fenestraz, De Vries, Druvela. They're the ones who are down at the moment. Who's this coming across the line? That's intended for DaCosta to start a lap time. Checkered flag is out soon, so Robin Freins will be the first one to meet this checkered flag. Can he break his way into the Jules here in Group B? Are coming across the line. Robin Freins across, goes through into 3rd position. Very strong time there. Here's Johan Druvela. Desperately trying to hold it again. The rear of the car shaking loose. Johan Druvela comes across the line. Is he quicker or not? 11th, only to 9th place, doesn't improve. Kyle Collette on his debut goes in 7th position. Tictum goes top, Friens goes in 3rd. Nato jumps Verline, goes into 4th. Fenestras goes to 8th place. Nick de Vries got the fastest first sector of anybody. He's 11th at the moment, doesn't improve, still 4 tenths down. Time not position. Verline's in 5th position at the moment, stays in 5th. Verline is out of the duels. Porsche really in trouble. Van Dorn boxes. It's all down to Jake Dennis. Is he 2 out? Yes, Dennis boxes. And this is going to be an absolutely crazy situation now. 3 of the top title contenders are out of qualifying before it even begins. And it's Da Costa, who had an outside shot at the title, who now gets through to the all-important duels. Wow. And it's Tictum and Da Costa by 13 thousandths of a second. So Evans and Da Costa, the 2 title contenders, out of the 7 we've got, the only ones to make it through. Now that is how we build up momentum and how we build up stature. Fabulous time. Truly fantastic. Let's get a quick word with the world feed before they dive off.
Into the duels as well for the second weekend in succession. Great performance there for the Dutchman. As I said, he's back up against the wall. He's not, at the moment, as we understand it, got a drive for 2025, and that will do him no harm at all.
Radio.
Severely unhappy right now with this car for the past 2 weekends. Just can't give you any more.
Jake Dennis also out of qualifying as well. It's been a bit of a familiar story over the course of this year, hasn't it, for the reigning world champion. He's not been happy with the balance of that car pretty much all season, since Diriyah, really.
It's been a huge turnaround this season compared to where he was at last season. He was so strong. Dan Tictum, a driver who's managed to turn it around. The start of the season wasn't great for him. That first lap, though, proved to be enough.
You are very good, guys, very good.
Yep, into the duels for the first time in 2024 for Dan Tictum. He'll be absolutely delighted with that. You were spending some time with him the other day, Billy, and you said his demeanour this year seems different. Yeah,
we haven't heard as many outbursts on the radio, it's fair to say, from Dan Tictum, which is something that he was a little bit renowned for last season. And just having had a couple of conversations with him across this week, and he just seems in a better place, much more maturity in the way he was sort of talking about this season. And even though it's been tough, I think it gave me a lot of confidence going away that he's moving in the right direction. And if everything came together in terms of the setup, he said him and his teammate Sergio Sette Camara have been trying some different things. It seems to be working, whatever they've done now, ERT.
Confirmation then of Group B qualifying classification. Dan Tictum, Antonio Felix da Costa, Robin Friens and Norman Nato are the 4 drivers that will go forwards. We say goodbye, crucially, to the nearest championship challenger of Nick Cassidy, Pascal Wehrlein, the reigning world champion Jake Dennis, ahead of Kyle Collette, with Session Fenestras being out-qualified by his rookie teammate. Then Stoffel Van Dorn, Jehan de Rubela and Nick de Vries are the rest of the drivers. So the top 4 will go forwards into the group stages of qualifying. Very much looking forward to that. Before we get the duels underway, though, let's head down to JJ and the rest of the team and divulge what has been a very exciting couple of group qualifying stages.
Thank you very much, Tommy. As indeed, it's been very interesting, Alan. We'll start with Group A because there was a couple of shocks in there, one of which, Nick Cassidy not making it.
Yeah, he was quick in the first run, didn't quite get it in the second one. The interesting thing for me, on the radio, he said, yeah, that was our pace. I told you, I didn't, and you didn't believe me that we had that ceiling. But Mitch Evans was the one that came through. So the Jaguar car can definitely do it. It just didn't seem to work out for Nick Cassidy's side of the garage.
And what can that be?
I think ultimately he just didn't get it hooked up. He didn't feel it. But where it was in the first sector. And Billy mentioned this in commentary. The first sector is really a key. Yeah. When he went round with Norman Nato, he was talking about how that is going to be one of the determining factors on your overall lap time. Mitch Evans, 2 tenths faster than Nick Cassidy in Sector 1.
He put himself under a lot of pressure there, Mitch, as well, didn't he? There was a point where he's gone off into the grass and you were thinking, is he going to have enough time to do it? He also seemed to be on a different strategy to everybody else that was on track, but he got the job done when it mattered.
Exactly. He was on the back foot, and it was important for him this weekend that he actually finishes ahead of his teammates, so he gets a chance to actually go into the last weekend in fight for the championship. But he delivered when he had to, and I have to say it was a very strong performance. Not only by him, there was others as well that were strong, but for Mitch to pull it out of the bag when he had gone off down in the grass down there, I thought was good.
The ERTs are looking quick.
Yeah,
We'll get into Group B in just a minute, but Seti Kamara looks like he's going to be, unfortunately, serving some punishments. But before that, he was looking quick.
He was third fastest.
Yeah.
You know, Jake Hughes quickest, and then you had then Seti Kamara was in third place. He did have his lap times from 4 to 9 taken away for a power overshoot issue, but also he had the problem at the chicane where it looks like there's an impeding. Jean-Eric Verne going off into the grass because of that impeding, and I think that's the thing that's going to hurt him. But you're right, the ERTs are quick on the one lap.
They are indeed. Well, I think it was Jake Hughes who topped the group in Group A, and Radzi is with Ian James, the McLaren team principal.
Well, I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by the team principal of Neo McLaren, Ian James. Ian, mixed fortunes from McLaren, Sam out of Jules, but importantly, Jake Hughes in and absolutely flying, just like he did in Shanghai.
Yeah, it's been lovely to see, because actually FP2 was messy for all of us, so it was nice to see that he's sort of got himself together again, and he's been a qualifying superstar this season so far, so it's, yeah, hopefully that will continue into the duels. Let's wait and see.
And he was pole sitter in his last race in Shanghai. He was almost on rails. Could we see a possible repeat of that here?
I think it's a little bit too early to tell. We've got a few stages to go through yet, but no, it's great to see him in a good place as well. And for Sam, obviously he's massively disappointed with his qualifying performance, but I've got a sneaking suspicion we can do something where he's going to start from. Last year, he did also start from the back and didn't do too badly, so...
That is a superb point, by the way. And just finally, in terms of Jake, sometimes wins or losses can define you. I just get the sense that with Jake, he's just turned 30, just proposed to his wife, he's smiling, his chest's out. Could this be a new Jake Hughes that really challenges for the podium in every race?
It's always nice to see when a driver's sort of feeling pumped and sort of optimistic about everything. There's a lot of stuff that's going really well for him in his life at the moment. So, yeah, he's coming in with a great attitude at the moment, and I think that's sort of paying dividends on the track. We need to keep that momentum that he had coming out of Shanghai. Let's hope we can get some good results here in Portland.
And fingers crossed we'll hear a Boston from Jake Hughes. Thanks for your time here.
Radzi, thank you.
Right, so should we get into Group B, shall we? I mean, I've been waiting to say this all year. Dan Ticktum tops the group. I mean, one hell of a performance he put in there, Billy.
Yeah, a really strong showing from him. It's something that last season, qualifying in that ERT, even though they haven't quite got the efficiency of some of the other teams, qualifying was an area where they could excel. Well, this year they haven't managed to do that, particularly Dan. They've been trying some different stuff with setup. I heard from Dan when I was having a little chat with him earlier in the weekend compared to Sergio, who's, again, had a couple of stronger qualifying performances, but it seems like both drivers had it hooked up this weekend, obviously both making it through to the duels and then Sergio picking up that penalty.
Which is unfortunate, but it's going to be an interesting dynamic to actually have a look at with Dan, isn't it? Kind of his car's quick, but he's going into like a pressurised situation which he's not being involved in this year in particular. But it's going to be interesting to see kind of how he handles it and how it develops.
I don't know if he'll be affected by it, to be honest with you. It's an opportunity. Yeah. It's not as if there's a pressure of a championship.
Yeah, but good pressure.
It's a positive, exactly that point. It's a positive pressure. He's got a chance, and he'll drive by the seat of the pants. We saw him sort of throwing it around, but it looked very controlled when he was. It looked like the car was sitting underneath him. He wasn't having to saw at the wheel. There was a progression. So actually, they are genuinely fast. Race is a different thing, but he'll be wanting to take everything he can out of this afternoon's qualifying.
One of the drivers that you kind of mentioned to me before we came on air here, Sasha Fenestraz. He's had a difficult day, hasn't he? FP2 didn't go well to him. He's crashed out in FP2. Thankfully, they got the car ready for quali. But out-qualified by his now teammate Caio Collet. So it's a tricky one for him, isn't it? And Nissan in general, really.
Well, he was on the back foot from the crash, so he missed the session in FP2, but you can quite easily counter that by saying his new teammates missed the season so far. And so from that point of view, it is a difficult one. And, you know, you can sit down and strategize. At the end of the day, the person on the other side of the garage is one of your biggest competitors, because that's the only person with exactly the same equipment and opportunity as yourself.
You can't hide from that, really, can you? I think one of the big things we were all looking at coming into this weekend as a whole was obviously the Nick Cassidy, Pascal Wehrlein kind of battle. Who was going to come out on top? Nick Cassidy doesn't make the duels. What's Pascal Wehrlein thinking when he's sat there? Because he must have thought, right, I've got a real good chance here to, you know, to nick one. But he didn't make the duels himself either.
Yeah, he didn't seize that opportunity. It was there for him. Nick Cassidy didn't make it through. All he had to do was make it through into the duels, and he'd have a shot at pole position later in the qualifying. Now he only qualified 6th in his group, so just wasn't a strong showing there from Pascal Wehrlein. Compared to his teammate, Antonio Felix da Costa, he's just not had the car in the same window. He's not had the confidence in the first part of the lap in particular that Antonio has. And Antonio is the teammate that's picked up that form. Like Alan said, teammates at Porsche, they have the same equipment, the same opportunities, and in the last few races I think it's fair to say Antonio has been making more of that opportunity at a stage in the season where it's crunch time for the championship. You wonder whether maybe pressure is playing a part there.
Yeah, maybe it is indeed. Well, let's head to Radzi now, shall we? Who's got a bit of information for us before we head into the knockout phases.
Absolutely right, JJ, and obviously Pascal Wehrlein, the big headline, the man second in the championship standings, he is out of the duels. Dan Ticktum, on the other hand, the biggest chest in the Formula E grid, is riding high. Literally, metaphorically, his chest is out. Can you believe what he did in qualifying? But the other thing to talk about, 3 of the big protagonists in the offing for the silly season rumour mill. Antonio Felix da Costa, the other Porsche driver who did go through to the duels. Brilliant performance from him. But what about the 2 other men? Stoffel Van Dorn, where could he go next season? Some people are talking about it possibly being a green and blue team. Say no more there. And then for Jake Dennis, a man who also didn't go through to the duels, and he's got a mini battle because for him, it's a home E-Prix. Just a couple of points separating him and John-Eric Verne in terms of the Penske and the Andretti battle, and then in terms of the actual team, 1 point separating them. So we have a lot of battles within battles, and these duels are going to be absolutely captivating.
Thanks, Redzy. Green lights on. This is your highlight so far from qualifying.
Final start with Tom Brooks.
Yeah, thank you very much, JJ. Looking forward to this one. Some highlights then from the group stages of qualifying. Pressure was on for Mitch Evans in the first group. He ended up having an off-track excursion, as you can see here. Didn't get a meaningful lap time in until right at the very end of the 11-minute session. But he managed to deliver and get himself into the duel. We also saw a few moments for a few other drivers. Crucially, we saw the Abt Cupra of Lucas Di Grassi progressing forward. This is his teammate, Nico Müller, who sadly did not make the cut. Just an interesting point on Lucas Di Grassi. He has got 2 3-place grid drops for some incidents that happened in Shanghai a few moments ago. This was another incident on track for Jean-Eric Verne. He got balked by Sergio Sette Camera, who has now been handed a 3-place grid penalty as well. No surprise there at all. Also had his lap time deleted after making it through into the duels, so he will not be in the duels, and he gets replaced by Eduardo Mortara. This is the moment you can see for Jean-Eric Verne, as he had to spin the car around and then get back on to the circuit to try and get into the duels, which sadly he was not able to do. As the rest of the drivers came across the timeline, we did see Robin Freitz making the cut for the first time in, what was it, 9 races, something along the lines of that for Robin Freitz. It's been a fair old while since the Dutchman has been in the dual stages of qualifying. As the checkered flag came out at the end of Group A, all the lap times began to improve. The rest of the drivers made it through. This is Group B. Jake Hughes also progressing forwards in the Neon McLaren. Always been a bit of a star in qualifying as Jake Hughes. You can see him out on track as he made his way onto the circuit here for Group B. Likewise, the 2 Andrettis as well. We heard Jake Dennis on the radio after Group B qualifying, a little bit frustrated with the balance of the car. This man, though, was not frustrated. Dan Ticktum hasn't been in the duels over the course of 2024, but managed to pull the rabbit out of the hat and get himself up into P1. We saw an off-track moment here for Antonio Felix da Costa in the Tag Heuer Porsche. Pressure, though, was on his teammate, Pascal Wehrlein. As we saw with Nick Cassidy, he didn't make it into the duels from Group A, and Wehrlein had the opportunity to snatch 3 points away from the Kiwi, but wasn't able to put the lap time together, didn't make it through into the duels, and as such, he does not progress forwards from the group stages of qualifying. Stellantis powered cars of the Maseratis and the DS Penske's have struggled so far here this weekend. Neither of those teams making it into the duels here today. But this man here, Dan Ticktum, with a golden opportunity for ERT. We know they've got good one-lap pace, and will he be able to translate it into a strong performance here today for the British driver? You see the clouds overhead as we look over the river. Let's have a look and see the drivers who will be competing against one another in the quarterfinals. Up first, it's Lucas Di Grassi versus Mitch Evans. We've got Edo Mortara, who replaces Sergio Sette Camera after his lap times were disallowed. He'll go head-to-head with Jake Hughes. Then it's Robin Freins, Antonio Finis da Costa, Norman Nato and Dan Tincton. Just the points on Norman Nato. He's got a 10th-place grid penalty for an accumulation of reprimands over the course of the season. So wherever he qualifies, he goes back 10 places. 4 drivers on the grid have got penalties here this afternoon, so we'll figure it out at some point, I'm sure, here, Alan. But this man here, Antonio Finis da Costa, he's been in good form in the Porsche.
Yeah, he definitely has. He's been good form in the last few races. Really, since Misano, his form has picked up strong. 2 wins since then, and he's competitive this weekend without doubt. I would say the leading Porsche in terms of pure pace and performance, and we'll see him going in the 3rd group against Robin Freins. Mitch Evans, for him, this is all about the championship, though.
Yeah, I think this is a huge opportunity with Pascal Wehrlein and Nick Cassidy not making it through. 3 points on offer here could bring him back into contention. He's only 10 points in the championship behind Pascal Wehrlein. 3 points, all of a sudden he wins a race and Pascal second. They're tied on points. It's fine margins.
Yeah, very, very fine margins. Opportunity then knocks here for Mitch Evans to try and pick up the pieces. You see 5 minutes to go until the quarterfinals will get underway. Great crowd that we've got here in Portland, loving the American fans.
When we came in at 7 o'clock this morning for free practice 2, which started at 7:30, they were already flooding through the gates. It was really, really cool to see.
Yeah, it has been a wonderful atmosphere, and you can see wonderful scenery as well. Mount St Helens?
Yeah, Mount St Helens, and also the aeroplane coming in there on the right-hand side. And we are sitting at the base of Mount St Helens, that famous mountain that you can go up if you do fancy, Tom, if you take Monday off.
I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of hiking, but I'll give it a go. Why not? Why not? Anyway, let's just get confirmation of the Drivers' Championship then after 13 rounds. You can see Nick Cassidy, 25 points the advantage over Pascal Wehrlein. He's a further 10 points ahead of Mitch Evans. Oliver Ronan not racing here this weekend. He's out due to illness. That's pretty much his championship done and dusted, I'm afraid to say. Jake Dennis still mathematically within with a shout, as are the top 9 drivers, as a matter of fact. But to be honest, it's realistically between the top 3 at this particular stage. You can see further down the order, a few drivers with a point to prove in the latter stages of this season. And also a possibility here for Caio Collet to get himself on the score sheet. He's put in a very strong performance, qualifying his teammate. Teams Championship, you can see Jaguar TCS Racing with a very strong opportunity. They've got 94 points, a possibility to score here this weekend. 188 left over the course of the season. And there's a very realistic shout that they could take the Team Championship over Tag Heuer Porsche. You can see Nissan and DS Penske also very close to one another. And also the Manufacturers' Trophy, new for 2024. Pretty close actually at the top there between Porsche and Jaguar, just 9 points in it. Nissan a little bit of a way ahead there of Stellantis, but certainly not insurmountable. Mahindra also just 10 points in front of ERT. So who knows what's going to happen. Preparations now then underway, ready to go for the first of the dual stages. Just a few minutes left. That is Lucas Di Grassi versus Mitch Evans up first of all. This is great news here for Lucas Di Grassi in particular, Adam. We haven't seen him up the sharp end of the field much in 2024.
No, certainly you have to say that the App Cupra hasn't had the pure pace and performance of maybe some of the other competitors, but round here they have been pretty quick. And Edo Mortara's got the same powertrain, and he's in the next quarter-final battle with Jake Hughes. And so I think Lucas should be happy with where this is. Whether he'll be able to get to the semis, I think that's going to be a tough ask if I'm very honest with you. But he'll give it everything he's got.
Certainly. Well, here is Lucas Di Grassi, the most experienced man in Formula E. You can see championship position, though, only down in 24th place. Just 2 championship points for him in season 10 so far. You've worked with Lucas. What do you make of him as a driver?
Well, to be honest with you, where Lucas really comes into his own is actually when you get to the race. When he's very, very good at working out the strategy of what you need as a driver to get through and to make his way up the field. And so I would think his strong point's going to come this afternoon. But that's also the weak point of the car as well, so he's counteracting that. Somebody that's got strength, I would say, in both situations is exactly this man, Mitch Evans, because as well, the Jaguar, I think, is pretty hooked up in general, and the consistency of it is going to be one of the reasons. That's why they're leading so easily in the Teams Championship.
Yeah, Jaguar and Porsche, good performances here last year in Portland, top 5 positions occupied by 5 powertrains, all of which were Jaguar and Porsche ones, so they know how to get around this Portland International Raceway. You see a few clouds there off into the distance. Quite humid actually here this weekend. A bit sticky.
Yeah, it is. It's getting pretty hot. You know, Portland's got very changeable weather. When we arrived, it was super cold and wet, and then it was super hot yesterday. And it's a little bit in the middle today. From a driver's point of view, you know, it's how it affects the tyre, that temperature, the sun beating down on the circuit, and how it affects the tyre. And this is a tough place for the tyres anyway.
Well, unlike what we've seen at other circuits, Team Radio.
Based on the discussion you had with Matt, deck 6 -1, deck for turn 6 -1.
So we're talking about turn 6. That's a long left-hander at the beginning of sector 2, and they're making some adjustments for that particular corner.
Yeah, just go back to that tyre point as well. Earlier on the season, Billy, you know, we've seen at Berlin, we saw drivers having to do 2 push laps or 2 build laps in order to get the tyres in the right operating window. Obviously, in the duels, you don't have that luxury, but they've been able to switch them on quite quickly.
Yeah, they've been taking 1 prep lap to book the tyre temperature this weekend. We'll just have a little look at that predictor vote. 95% say Mitch Evans is going to make it through, and I tend to agree with them, Alan.
Yeah, I think the same thing as we get ready then with our qualifying screen. Driver tracker all set to go. Quarterfinal number 1 then. And it is between Degrassi and Evans as they venture out onto the circuit. Bring it on. That was a long wait, wasn't it? That was 20 minutes. A 20-minute delay. There must have been something wrong with the track. Had to have been something wrong with the track for it to be 20 minutes between the 2 sessions. We're nearly at an hour into this broadcast. They should have had that sorted by now. So a 20-minute delay, only think there was something wrong on the circuit. Let's hope it's not that long between, because usually only supposed to be a 7 minutes. 3 championship points available for pole position, let's not forget. Also, we now turn the wick up from 300 kilowatts of power to 350 kilowatts. So it does make a difference. This is now race power available to the drivers. And compared to the times this morning, Degrassi this morning, when he was on this set of tyre, on this power, he did a 1:09.344. Evans was a little bit faster. He did a 1:09.215 on the full power lap time. But it's 1 lap, single shootout, and who dares wins in Formula E. Down towards the Sheldon Chicane, the first corner here at Portland International Raceway. It's a modified chicane area to what we usually have. I think we're going to go picture in picture there, because we haven't heard much from Degrassi as Evans comes through turns 1, 2 and 3. Degrassi is in that first sector now. We ride with him. Evans is ahead by 11 thousandths at the moment. Degrassi's first sector time is a 26.983, but he is fighting for control. His tyres not up to temperature as well. Track temperature now 28 degrees, air temperature 21, so it is rising out there, but he's fighting for control left and right. He's really trying to hold it together. Evans' first sector, 26.814. He's faster. Coming up then in towards sector 2 was the time. It's a 17.233 for Degrassi. Evans is coming up. Evans is 2 tenths ahead. It's a 17.140 for Mitch Evans. Before the second sector, up to the line then. Oh, it's suddenly very close. I don't think that's true at all. Evans hasn't made a mistake. So Degrassi's time is a 1:09.357. Evans will come across the line to comfortably progress through to the semi-finals. It's a 1:08.974. First lap time on the board done. And to be fair, kind of predicted that Evans would do that well. Would we really be surprised if it wasn't Evans who went through? So we highlight Mitch. He's our first winner. Usually, if you're new here, those who go out second get the better lap time. That's what we're seeing. Mortara versus Hughes next up. And Mortara is out first with Hughes out second. They're already on the circuit, as you can see. In the previous head-to-heads they've had, it's been Hughes who's won. Mortara at nil, so it's 1-0 to Hughes at the moment. No predictor vote on that one either, which I find a bit bizarre. But we exit And up to the line we go. And let's see what the delta will be. So this is a lap time. Hang on a minute. Car 4, Friends into Costa may now enter the fast lane. Okay, well, that was predictable. We're riding with Mortara. Hughes is now starting his lap time now. There's not that much between these two on the track in terms of time. There's usually about 20 seconds, but it's not as far back as we thought it would be. So, first sector coming up for Eduardo Mortara, and it's a 26.911. So, Hughes is behind by a tenth. Gets a lovely turn 3 and 4. Here's Hughes' first sector. Whoa, 42 thousandths faster. It's a 26.869. So Hughes is really closing him up now as well. Sector 2 for Mortara, 17.057. What's it for Jake Hughes in the McLaren? 17.121. 26,000. Oh, and off goes Mortara. Mortara gets on the exit curb coming out of turn 11 and sends it down onto the escape road on the drag strip. Mortara throws it away and Jake Hughes only has to keep going and he will progress through to the semi-finals. Eduardo Mortara catching the grass, making the mistake. It's cost him about 18 seconds. Hughes has just made the very first overtake in a duel and he goes top with a 108.941. 18 seconds later, Mortara crossed the line. That's the first overtake I've ever seen in the duels before. Wow. So it'll be Evans facing Hughes in the semi-final. Mortara just catching the exit curb through turn 11, drags him on through 12. Absolutely nothing he could do about it. Straight off the circuit. Wow. Got the curb. We got sent out over the grass. Watch out for that in the race, actually. Quarterfinal 3. Friends versus Da Costa. 83% say Da Costa over Friends, but they're level in their head-to-heads. Down we come then. We're watching Friends into the chicane at turn 1. Modified chicane. Not as tight as what we usually have it. NATO and Tinctum can now enter the fast lane. Da Costa's already started his lap time now. The gap between them is a sector. 21 seconds, the difference between them as they're coming towards turn 1. So what's Friends' first sector? It's a 26.873. Friends going to complete both sectors before Da Costa completes one sector. That's how mad that is. Da Costa's first sector time, a 26.761. Friends' second sector time is a 17.094. So there's a tenth between them at the moment. Now this is going to be tight. Da Costa, 17.071. So Friends is going to be very close here. He'll have the advantage coming up towards the line, but Da Costa is faster than him. Friends takes the checkered flag. 108.878. What can the Porsche do of Da Costa into the last corner? Oh, he's made a mistake. The car stepped out of the back. He was wide an entry as well. That's going to cost him time. Look at that. Only 5,000 between them at the moment. Up towards the line. And Da Costa misses. 46 thousandths of a second separated. Friends goes through. Friends beats Da Costa. Wow. Well, I didn't expect that. Friends will go through to semi-final 2. I wonder who is going to face him. Perfect last corner for Friends. Got all that time over the curve. Didn't go too wide. The problem, again, came from the confidence that Da Costa would go quicker and then makes a mistake. Jaguar lead the team's championship 299 points to Porsche 226. Jaguar could wrap that championship up this weekend. Quarterfinal 4, Norman Nato for Home Heroes Andretti, Dan Tinctum for ERT. They've never faced each other in a duel before. 67% say it's going to be Norman Nato, 33 say it's going to be the 33 of Dan Tinctum. Nato starts a lap. controlling that inside line, just gently pushes the power back down and slides it out. Nato, again, his first sector time's coming up. Tictum is into the first chicane now. Runs over the curbs nicely. First sector for Nato is a 26.878. Tictum 8,000s in that first mini sector. Here he comes. This is Nato we're watching. Tictum was a 26.931. So Nato has 2/10 over the ERT. At 300 kilometers per hour, the ERT is fine. It's a competitive car. At 350, this is where the ERT starts to have problems. Second sector almost meaningless. Nato 17.108, Tictum 17.296. Nato should take this one with ease to face Frines in semi-final number 2. Cross the line, Nato is a 109.026. Not the fastest time, but a respectable time. Does mean that it's going to be an interesting final. Nonetheless, here as they come across the line for Dan Tictum. He is gaining. Straight line speed, and the ERT's fast. 83,000 separate them, but it's Nato who goes through. Tictum's time is a 109.109. Matt, oh, that's perfect. 109.109. That's quite nice to do. Well, definitely thought it would be an interesting buzz around out there, but, oh well. It's getting slightly better, I suppose, as to who's going to be where next as on the circuit, I suppose. But it is becoming a little confusing out there on the circuit. Let's head back to the world feed before they go on a break.
Experience here at Portland in IndyCar, and they'll be hoping to get some good experience here this afternoon as well for the E3. So confirmation of the quarterfinals then. Degrassi versus Evans. Saw Evans go forwards. We saw Hughes getting the better of Mortara, Frines getting the better of Da Costa, and Nato getting the better of Dan Tictum. So it's Evans versus Hughes in semi-final 1, then Norman Nato versus Robin Frines in semi-final 2. So 2 Jaguar powertrains in there, a Nissan and a Porsche. Very exciting to see what is going to happen and see which 2 drivers will go forwards.
I am interested as well. It's going to be absolutely fascinating when we get round to that in a few moments' time. So Sergio Sette Camara has had his lap time deleted. We know that, but we've got the informational charts up here in the commentary box that we're going to try and access to see the exact reasoning for the penalty. We know it was over power, we got told, but we didn't get told any other information. So we can see the stewards' results here. It's on the notice board. So presumably it was stewards document 56, which has just been released to the commentary box. And it is, okay. This is to all interested. Stewards have reported race director Matter during its session. Qualifying Group B, the car in attachment left the circuit. Breach of Article L as well, and cancellation of the lap time as well. So these were the drivers who got the lap time deleted, which was Stoffel van Dorn. So he had a lap time deleted as well. That was in Group B. We need to see Group A, though. Here we go. Sergio Sette Camara. Here we go. So stewards report, delicate report 7. That we need to. So stewards delicate report 7. We haven't got access to that, unfortunately. But this is what it is from Sergio Sette Camara. In qualifying, power usage over regulatory limit during laps 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of qualifying practice session. Breach of Article 33.5 of the 2023-2024 FIA Formula E World Championships Warning Regulations. Cancellation of those lap times 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for overpower usage. So that's all the information we've got. So it is overpower during those sections of the circuit, which usually is a slam dunk, because if there's bumps on the circuit, the car's limited, of course, to 300 kilowatts per hour, but bumps can set them up, energy spikes can happen, and that seems to have happened, which is an automatic, okay, we're going to send that back upstairs now, you'll have your lap times deleted. It's a no-go area. It's a no-argument rule in Formula E, and it does catch them out quite a lot, but rules are rules, and overpower, it could be the difference between pole position and starting at the back of the grid. So if unfair, really, for Sergio Camara, but that means he's going to start at the back of the grid anyway, if my timings are correct. because he's lost laps 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, where he was setting consistently faster lap times. So, getting ready for qualifying the semi-final duel number 1. That's going to come out shortly. And hopefully as well, it's going to be a nice, interesting session for you all back at home. We're going to hand over to the world feed for a few moments' time as well with JJ. Tom Brooks is going to be over there as well, hearing all the latest information.
So just under 5 minutes to go then until the first of the semi-finals gets underway. Mitch Evans versus Jake Hughes. What a lovely part of the world we're in here in Oregon. The most popular city, actually, is Portland, in the state of Oregon. And what a wonderful city it is as well. Lovely barbecues, lovely steaks. We enjoyed last night.
Yes, it is. It's a lovely area. And it's also a circuit that hasn't changed. You know, back in, I would say, 30 years, the layout's exactly the same. It's a bull ring of a track. It's short, it's fast, it's aggressive, and as we've seen, it's one that can easily catch you out.
When's the last time you raced here, Alan?
The only time I raced here, actually that's not true. The last time I raced here was in 2000, 24 years ago.
Oh, okay. How old were you, Billy? One. Oh,
Yeah.
I was 3, so I wasn't much older than you.
It's all right. This is just experience that was talking then, if that's the case. It's not age.
So Norman Nato then here inside the Andretti garage at the moment. What sort of process are they going to be going through at this point? There's a few minutes to go into the session. What can you do as a driver now to maximise your potential?
I just think about the lap and also a little bit of optimization. At the end of the day, the majority of the work is done, and right now it's making sure that you get into the right headspace and just look at the details that you can improve from your own driving from the previous session. Nato had a clean and tidy one. It wasn't an ideal final sector, so I'm quite sure that he'll be looking at the data on the final sector, you know, what he did in comparison to what he did in the dual section of it, in his run in his qualifying group. So from that perspective, it's just details.
Sam Bird here, watching on. Didn't make it through, unfortunately, from his group stage into the duels. Of course, return to racing at Shanghai a few weeks ago wasn't a harmonious return by any stretch of the imagination, especially if your name begins with Ed and ends in Ick de Vries, because he ended up planting one into the side of him, and as such has got a penalty on the grid here for this weekend. So there is Mitch Evans, pressure on him and a potential opportunity to snatch 3 points away from his nearest championship rivals. Nick Cassidy and Pascal Wehrlein not making the cut and going through into the duels. You can see there, 132 points. That's just 10 points away from Pascal Wehrlein, who sits second in the championship. 35 points, 5 points behind teammate Nick Cassidy there as well. So let's see what will happen here for Mitch Evans. James Barkley watching on.
James is looking a bit more nervous than I've seen him for a wee while. He obviously understands the importance of this race weekend, not just necessarily this particular semi, and that's something that we heard a little bit with Radzi earlier on when he interviewed him, saying that you know, he realised that this is a potential big weekend for them as a team and also as a manufacturer.
Well, we saw them last year coming so close to that team's championship. They were pipped to the post by their customer outfit, effectively. You know, now is the opportunity for them to try and right that in 2024, and it looks like it's going to go that way, but there is a lot of pressure on his shoulders, absolutely no doubt about it. How do you deal with that pressure? That's the question.
Well, to be honest, it's a lot better to deal with the pressure when you're leading the championship than deal with the pressure when you're 6th and 7th and scrapping for the last bits of it. But, you know, this is a team that also knew that from last year with Jake Dennis driving for Andretti and winning the driver's title. That's not been quite as easy run for them as it was last year, but they've got Norman Nato in the mix, and he's going up in the second semi.
I want whatever Michael Andretti puts in his hair. That's a
I was just thinking the same thing, Tom.
It's a fine barnet he's got there, isn't it?
Yes, he's looking slick.
Nick Cassidy watching on then here. His teammate Mitch Evans about to go out for the first of the semi-finals then. Cars are now allowed to enter into the pit lane. And let's have a look and just remind you how we got here from the quarterfinals. So Evans versus DeGrassi. Evans was on top. Mortara versus Hughes. Hughes was on top. Price versus DaCosta. And Price was on top. Nato versus Tictum. And Tictum did not make the cut. Nato did. But Nato, of course, as we know, has got a 10-place grid penalty, just to remind you, for an accumulation of reprimand. So wherever he ends up on the grid, he will go back 10 places. Who's your money on for this one, Alan? You're
this first one.
Yeah,
it's on Hughes. I think Hughes will be the one that goes through. Let's see if the predictor actually suggests that. Actually, the predictor's exactly the opposite side. But I think Jake Hughes has been quick. He's got a feel for the qualifying. As you said, he was in pole for the last race in Shanghai. And I would put my money on Hughes.
I think Mitch Evans. I think the extra pressure on getting those 3 points for the championship. I think that just might bring the best out of him here.
Well, let's see what happens then as the drivers are at the exits of pit lane then. So Mitch Evans exits out on to the circuit. Pole position once for him so far in 2024. That was back in Misano. Hughes, as we know, has also been on pole position this year, twice though, once in Misano and also last time out in Shanghai. And now it is all about repeating what you did a few minutes ago in the quarterfinals, but with a bit more at stake for where you line up on the grid. This will determine the second row in the semi-finals, and of course the front row will be determined in the finals, and which order they will end up in and what number of points they will score in qualifying as well. No pressure really on Jake Hughes in terms of a title to worry about here, so I wonder if he'll just be that little bit more relaxed compared to Evans.
That's why I've picked him.
So Evans then building up pressure.
Mitch is a Kiwi, he's going to be relaxed no matter what.
Yeah, he's pretty calm, cool and collected, isn't he, really?
He's super quick in the first sector. That's, I think, the area of this circuit where Evans has had time in his pocket over everybody else. He'll need to repeat that, obviously, now, because I'm very sure that Hughes will be strong on his lap. So I think it's probably going to come down to who makes the least mistakes.
Yeah, you don't want to be...
Yeah, that's going to be a factor as we get ready for this one. Here we go. This is the semi-finals between Evans and Hughes, first down. This is a biggie. Hughes is fast. He's taken several pole positions already this season. Mitch Evans is a title contender. He must go through to benefit from Roland not being here, from the disaster. So we've got Cassidy, Vern, and Verline and Dennis all out of the order. So Hughes could play a major upset here to the title. But remember, Neo McLaren used Nissan battery powers, not Jaguar. So it's going to be on the marks here as to who's who. We've delayed the footage, so it's side by side. I can tell you Evans' first sector is a 26.817. His second sector is a 17.033. Hughes' first sector is a 26.873. So there's about a tenth between them at the moment. But we're seeing on the lap times, it's a nice swing. Evans is nice and smooth with the car. Hughes is having to fight it a little bit more. Third sector and lap time for Evans is a 1:08.664. Don't forget TV pictures are delayed here. So let's see what Jake Hughes does. Gets on the curb a bit too much. Visibly now losing time to Evans at the last corner. Up towards the line. It's going to be very, very close. But Hughes has a bad exit. So it's Evans on a 1:08.664. Hughes 1:08.925. So through goes Evans to the final. That's a big one to try and get World Championship points up here. So Evans goes through to the final. Who is going to face him? That is the big question. So Evans goes through. Let's hear from on the radio.
We've ever seen in Formula E.
Yep. Yes, that's 2.5 tenths. Well done. Good job. We're through to the final.
It was a nice 2.5 tenths between them as well. James Barkley looks happy, the team principal over at Jaguar. Little hairs, you know the tail bits at the end as well, just getting in my earphones here. Semi-final 2, 60% of you say NATO, 40% of you say Frines. They've never faced each other in a duel before, so let's see what we have here now. NATO v Frines, all to decide who goes in to this final. Short and sweet now. It shouldn't be too long of a wait. Should be out of here by 10 past the hour. It's a very long qualifying though. NATO comes through. So NATO's first sector times will be approaching shortly on the monitor. Frines coming up. First sector time is a 26.601. Frines went wide. Frines went very, very wide. And it's already 0.3 of a second down. Through the mini sectors. What are we seeing? 0.5 down. Frines is a 27.1. 3/10 down on his own. Fryans making that error coming out of turn 7 has cost him massively. Literally massively cost him. As they come out now, lap time for NATO on the board shortly. Fryans is so far down, but he has set the fastest second sector of anyone. He's catching, but he's messed this one up. Looks like Andretti are going to have someone in the final for the first time this year. 108.818 for NATO. Here comes Fryans. He's even sliding out of the last corner. It's a 109.090. Another actual identical time. Norman Nato goes through to the final to join Mitch Evans to decide who will start on pole position for the Portland E-Prix. Fantastic stuff. Let's go back over to the world feed.
Finally, he also dropped that 10th of a second there.
Good job, mate. Good job. Yes! So we are just a bit under 3/10 quicker than him.
This was all done in the first sector with a mistake, fundamentally, of Robin Fryans, but also Nato had a very, very good first sector as well.
Do you think Norman Nato there would have got any information about the mistake from Robin Fryans in his ear from the team? Because I wonder whether he left a little bit of margin in those last couple of sectors because he had a half a second margin because of that mistake from Robin Fryans.
Clear, but he is going to go into the final and he's going up against Mitch Evans, and so therefore I would personally want to make sure that I wasn't giving too much away and making sure I was preparing the best way possible for that final duel, because Norman Nato is going to have to bring his A+ game to beat Evans with a performance that Evans put in his semi-final.
Well, drivers now back into the garage, into the Weybridge area, just at the start of pit lane to make sure the car is all complying with the regulations. You can see there Robin Fryans onto the scales. I know that it's a bit of a formality, but I imagine there's still a bit of nervous anticipation at this point because it could still throw it all away.
No, from the driver's point of view, you can't do anything about it, so it's a formality. The one thing you do is you get a little piece of paper telling you the weight of the car, and then you come back down.
Confirmation then of the Jules ladder. You can see how we've got to the finals then. So we had Evans versus Hughes. Evans getting the advantage over the Briton, and then Nato versus Fryans. That mistake from Fryans in the first couple of corners costing him time and a possibility to get onto the front row for the first time since Saudi Arabia earlier on in the year. So it will be Norman Nato, who's not had a pole position so far this season, will go head to head with Mitch Evans in the finals.
Yeah, Candy, they were going to an ad break there as well. So let's go through who's going where at the moment. We'll go to live. I've hit the live timing instead of the timing results. Silly me on the board. Not getting them all correct without my glasses on up here in the commentary box as well. Just a reminder, we're going to have Jack Giamano join me in the commentary box for the race later on. So if you're wondering who is this prattling mortal commentating without any information, we'll have a legend out there as well. Might take a strepsil in between. Voice is starting to go just a tad, but that's only because it's different. Oh, well, we have a very interesting result in the Euros. So if you don't want to know what's happened in the European football tournament, mute for a second. Switzerland 2, Italy 0, which means Italy's hopes of defending the Euros crown ends. So, if England have been playing blind, tomorrow might be quite entertaining. Let's see. Tomorrow's a win-win, so I'm hopeful about we've been sandbagging, but then again, I know that it's a pipe dream to start believing. But seeing is believing, believing is seeing, I suppose, out there on the circuit. We're getting ready then for the final. It's a one lap between Norman Nato and Mitch Evans to decide who's going to have pole position for round 13 of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. Just 4 races left, of course. A doubleheader here in Portland. Then another month's break before the end of July. And that takes us to Battersea. No, it takes us to the XL Centre in London for the final one. I can't say London properly. My nose won't allow it. The London E-Prix. London. So yeah, the XL in London. It's my accent. Kellyanne's going to have a go at me now, my older sister, for that. But yeah, the double-header there. Next year, it's back at the XL as well. There's a real fear it could go to Silverstone and everyone would get priced out of tickets. Personally, Donington Park would be an option for me. Do you know why? I could do it trackside. If they went back, they did testing in Donington Park. But let me tell you something. If they went to Donington Park, I would be there like an absolute shot for the Formula E. I don't care if I'd miss a Formula 1 or anything. Formula E there, I'd be on the circuit, getting my microphone out, doing all that, doing everything, interviewing the drivers, commentating from that gantry that we did in touring cars. It would be absolutely fantastic. Or even using the commentary box that they don't even have access to. So, yeah, it would be brilliant. So maybe we'll see. I'll have a word with people at Donington, see if they want to get a race there as well, if London won't do it. Here's back to Tom.
So then, preparation is in place for the finals. Mitch Evans versus Norman Nato for round 13 of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. Very much looking forward to this one. There's a lot of anticipation in the air at this crucial stage in the season. Not necessarily that important in terms of what's going to happen for the race this afternoon, because we're expecting a high-energy pack race and grid position isn't really that relevant. But as we said, a lot of importance and relevance for the championship here this weekend as well, with that 3 points on offer. Pascal Wehrlein, driver who did not make it through, nearest championship challenger to Nick Cassidy. You can see there the advantage that Cassidy has, 25 points over Wehrlein, 10 points in turn ahead of Mitch Evans. So a golden opportunity here then for Mitch Evans. Let's see what is going to happen. Final preparations taking place. So what are the teams discussing at this point now here, Alan? Because obviously we've got to the point of the finals. They've gone and done a couple of dual laps already to get to this stage. So how do they prepare everything?
Yeah, they're going through the process right now, and it's making sure with the countdowns and being prepared for when they are allowed to enter the pit lane. So it's effectively just the process of doing that. Changes are going to be basically zero. And as we had from the point of view when they went from the quarterfinals to the semis, is just maybe a little bit of a review of data to see where you can try and extract that last hundredth of a second.
Well, just a reminder as well, whatever happens here with Norman Nato, even if he does qualify on pole position, he'll go back 10 places on the grid at courtesy of that penalty that he's picked up, but he will still be classified as the pole sitter, so he will get those 3 points.
Yeah, and when it comes to the team's championship, those 3 points for Andretti would take them ahead of DS Penske. So from a home race perspective and that rivalry that is renowned in the motorsport world, that would feel quite nice for Andretti.
Yeah, especially with J.F. Thorman, the president of Andretti, and also Michael Andretti, the CEO, here this weekend. When you've got the big cheeses in town, you want to try and deliver, don't you? So Robin Freight's making his way back into the garage, and I'm sure he'll be keeping one eye on the television screen to find out who is going to be lining up directly in front of him on the grid here for the E-Prix this afternoon. Interestingly for the E-Prix, we're a lot shorter in terms of the race distance. Where were we last year? Was it 32 laps? This year, 26, 27 laps. So what effectively that means is we're going to hit that go faster point sooner, isn't it?
Yeah, I think last year's race, the difference in lap time from lap 1 to the end of the race, where they were pushing flat out, it was around 9 seconds of lap time. And it is a short lap, so the margin there was huge. So that will be decreased a lot. I think the pace will be quicker from the start of the race to the end.
Just a reminder of how we got here then for round 13 for the Hankook Portland E-Prix. Mitch Evans versus Lucas Di Grassi. Di Grassi going forwards into the semis and then into the finals. You can see Nato started off with Dan Tickton, then he had a duel with Robin Freight, and he now will go head-to-head with Mitch Evans as he aims to claim his first pole position on paper for the start of this season. But whatever happens, he's not going to be lining up there on the grid courtesy, as we said, of that penalty, but does have a chance to snatch those 3 points away from the man who really needs them for the Drivers' Championship of Mitch Evans. But the Formula E predictor, 84% of you reckon it's going to go the way of Mitch Evans. Well, the proof will be in the pudding in about 3 or 4 minutes' time.
I'm thinking I'm going with the predictor vote on this one, guys. Mitch Evans, for me, that semi-final run was impressive.
You're not in agreement there, Andy?
Yeah, and also I picked, if I remember correctly, Jake Hughes to beat Mitch Evans, and I was completely wrong with that one, so I'm going to obviously not make a prediction.
Well, I like an underdog story, so I'll go with Norman Nato just to try and upset the apple cart, shall I? Out of the pit lane then comes Norman Nato, aiming for his first pole position of 2024 and those crucial 3 points. Whatever happens here, it will be Mitch Evans who will line up at the head of the field. As we look inside the Andretti garage then, Evans exiting out of the pit lane. 2 final appearances for Mitch Evans this year. He lost the final in Diriyah, but he won it, of course, in Misano, where he claimed pole position. Whereas Norman Nato, 3rd on the grid, is the best position that he has qualified in so far this year.
Here we go.
Thoughts there of Joseph Rocker, race engineer for Mitch Evans. He'll know the critical nature of this qualifying session for his driver.
I'm sure there'll be too much thought going on and mulling things over. It will be basically full concentration now that everything is absolutely optimum for his driver, and giving guidance with that as soon as Evans comes out the last corner to go flat out on the lap.
So this is going to be a very close one as well to see who's going to have the advantage. Who have you got then? Who's your fastest money on? The final for the Portland Prix qualifying for round 13 is go. Down to turn 1. This is Norman Nato, late on the brakes. Nice on entries in the chicane. Gently puts the pace back down. Very lovely. He's going to save a lot of time there. Evans starts his lap time. There's only 14 seconds between them on the track, so it's going to come thick and fast then. Evans a bit squirrely into that first corner. He's sliding around an awful lot, taking a bit too much curb. I'm going to expect that Nato might have this, though. First sector is a 26.765. Evans is looking a little bit slidey coming to turns 3 and 4. His first sector time coming into 26.882. On the board, there is 76 thousandths of a second between the two at the moment. This is going to be yet another very close pole position in Formula E. Nato, second sector, 17.290. Evans, he comes up to that timing gantry now. It is 17.072. He's up by 10th and a half. What's happened here for Nato? Jaguar might just snatch the predictable. Nato, 108. No, to 109.016. It's a slow lap. We know Evans can do faster. We know he will. Mitch Evans, pole position in Portland for Jaguar. 108.820. On the weekend where his championship rivals seem to fail, he has gone and taken the top dollar. 3 points in the championship as well go his way. 3 very important World Championship points. Nato is second. Let's hear from Evans and the world feed.
Position, baby. 2 tenths. Well done. Mega job. Mega job. Well done.
I'd also think of it another point, if Jaguar can have both of their drivers finishing first and second in the championship, then that's also important from a team's perspective, because to be honest, that's utter dominance.
That's domination right there, isn't it?
I imagine it helps with the shareholders, and when you've got to ask for the budget for the following season, all of those sorts of tricky conversations that you've got to have. What a drive.
A little bit easier, don't they?
It certainly does. What a great job from Mitch Evans.
What I guess. It was actually not the greatest lap, but yeah, got it done. What I guess. Now we focus on the rest.
Yeah, really good job on that sector 1.
Well, contrasting fortunes on the other side of the garage there for Nick Cassidy. We heard him on the team radio after the group stage of qualifying saying, that's our pace. Mitch Evans has gone to dispel that myth, and he's gone and chucked it on pole position.
Yeah, it was the pace of the car that Nick Cassidy had at the time. It wasn't the pace or the ultimate pace of the Jaguar. It was the one that he had. And I think as well, Evans clearly had something there, because he was also very, very quick when it came to the actual group stages as well.
Yeah, sorry, like I've been struggling a lot in this lap. A lot of movement. But it's good. It's good. Thank you, guys. Let's finish the job this afternoon.
A lot of movement in the car. The car was moving around. He wasn't having the feeling that he was on the edge of the grip and the car was going around the corner. It was sort of sliding and moving front and rear that Norman Nato was explaining there.
Yeah, Norman Nato then, second he qualifies. 12th is where he will start, though, on the grid, courtesy of that 10-place grid penalty that he will suffer. 4 drivers with penalties actually as well. You've got Sam Bird, who has got a penalty for this one, courtesy of some shenanigans in Shanghai. Lucas de Grassi's got 2 3-place grid penalties as well. And also, we saw Sergio Sette-Camera picking up a penalty earlier on in the session for overspeeding and having a lot of lap times deleted, and then also got done for impeding as well, just to rub salt into the wounds. No such problems though for the Kiwi. Mitch Evans keeping his championship hopes alive, getting 3 points on the board and closing the gap down to 7 points for second in the championship at this stage of the season.
Makes things exciting, doesn't it, Tom? It really, you know, provides that extra spark that we thought we were potentially looking at a 2-horse race for the championship realistically. All of a sudden, Mitch Evans has gone, remember me, guys? I'm on pole position, by the way.
Amazing job. Amazing from Mitch Evans. As I said, his back was up against the wall, had a lot of pressure. And if you remember back to the group stages, he didn't look comfortable with the car at all. He really struggled in the early parts of the qualifying session. Managed to deliver that lap right at the very end. And it was touch and go as to whether he was going to make it, but came good and managed to get his act together, get it on pole.
Well, he ran wide at turn 4, went through the grass, and we thought he was on the back foot, but actually he was pushing the limits, as it's turned out. And we've also seen it in practice as well, where he went off through the grass at turn 11 and 12. And again, those are the 2 areas where he really took time out of Norman Nato. So he was in a good shape.
Let's go down to Mitch Evans and catch up with our pole sitter.
Nobody has more Jules appearances this season than yourself, now in double figures, level with Pascal Wehrlein. We just mentioned off air there, your lap record. You've made history here on this track. You must be delighted.
Yeah, look, it's been a good start. I think, as we know, this track position doesn't mean a lot, but I think the points for me is the most important thing. 3 points at this point of the championship is always, any point is valuable. So the race now is going to be tricky. Actually starting off pole is probably one of the worst places, so we're going to have to try and come up with a good plan to put ourselves in a better position throughout the race. But still a good start. Like last year we struggled a bit more here, and this year the car's been working really well since we got here, so just a full credit to everyone on the team, and hopefully we can pull off a good result later on.
And where's your head at in terms of you're third in the Drivers' Championship, Jaguar leading the Team Championship, you had Ollie Rowland who was nipping at your heels, obviously unfortunately he's not here. It's now an interesting situation.
Yeah, honestly it feels a bit similar to last year in my position in terms of the gap to the leader, which is obviously now Nick. I'm super relaxed. Look, I need a strong Portland to be able to take this into London. Nick's been super strong all year, same with Pascal, so look, I was going to try and treat like a normal weekend, try and pull off the best result I can, and if I can take it into London and then in a strong position, that'd be great. So this is hopefully a step in the right direction, but we've still got a long way to go.
And that step in the right direction gets him 3 points. Also, the Julius Baer Pole Sitter Trophy. And to present this one is a Formula E legend, Julia Pallet, the VP of Sustainability for Formula E.
Pole position for Mitch Evans then. And let's take a look at how they are going to line up for round 13 of the championship. It's Mitch Evans on pole with Jake Hughes alongside. Robin Friends is third with Antonio Felix da Costa in fourth. Dan Tinctum is in fifth. And we've just been informed that a 10-place grid penalty at the next race due to multiple driving infringements is coming his way for Norman Nato. So Nato, who qualified second, has dropped down to 12th on the grid. Very interesting news just developing here. So to confirm down, so it's Evans on pole, Hughes is now second, Friends third, da Costa fourth, Tinctum fifth, Mortara sixth, Muller is seventh, Wehrlein eighth, Boremi ninth, Dennis in 10th position. And then we get Cassidy 11th, in Nato is 12th, de Grassi 13th, Colette 14th, 15th is Vern, 16th Vanestras, 17th Van Dorn, 18th Gonther, 19th Druvela, 20th for Bird, 21st to Freeze, and 22nd for Sergio Sette-Camara. Well, that's it. Thank you all very much for joining us here for the session. It's going to be a very interesting race coming up later. Myself and Jack Giamano will be in the commentary box as well to bring you all the action. To everyone watching on Grid Network, stay tuned for more videos from Joe Sammiego and Nicole Fry, who are trackside for us as well. Thanks for your company. Cole, qualifying has gone really, really well, but can the race be even better? Join us for the 27-lap Portland Prix in a couple hours' time. Bye-bye.